Hello, one and all, and welcome back to Disney Dungeons and Dragons. I'm your Dungeon Master, August Schmidt, and with me, as always, for our group are the Dizanian Elite. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Awesome. Last we saw our party, crazy adventure and battle had occurred at the official embassy in Sumani City. The hyena and the gnolls and undead of Mr. Incredible's army, commanded by this imposter, had appeared to you all, marching through the gates. Adam and Belle able to successfully start warding off the bulk of the army and injuring this imposter creature. Cadel, you were able to not only successfully get Snow to protection, but also then, before this imposter could do some terrifying damage to the building, banished it back to whatever planar hellscape from whence it came. In doing so, again, successfully not only stopping the attack, but negating a lot other repercussion damage. As you are all unsure still what exactly the creature was, what you know is that it was not Mr. Incredible. Merlin told you that something had possessed its body from that wasn't actually what we know as our friend Mr. Incredible. He's currently still down in hell too, fun fact. But what you guys know is, upon doing this, as you were in front of the gates, many different civil servants arriving, police, fire department, search and rescue, just to start helping a lot of these dignitaries. You were all greeted with a very important personage who, as she came thundering down the road, her black and white hair standing out in this very modern-esque, pantsuit dress, as Cruella DeVille, one of the known socialites of the city, appeared to start helping. She had offered even we must start hunting down this army. But as all this was occurring, Adam, you feel your fingers tingling, your hair, body, skin, light and moat start appearing, until even before you can think of what could be happening, you disappear into the Ethereum. Here's what I will then ask. As this happens, Belle and Cadel, you two may make me perception checks on what just happened. Adam, please make me a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh. That is a 15 con save.
All right.
I got a 9 on perception.
Okay.
I didn't do much better. I got 11.
11. Belle and Cadel, as you guys look, there is no magical mark. Just like in scientific reactions, how magic usually leaves behind a residue or a reaction or a change. Whatever just happened doesn't seem bad. In fact, it more just seems that it happened. There's no scorch marks. There's no damage to where Adam was just standing. It seems as if he just lightly disappeared. Adam, what you feel though, pushing through time and space, the Constitution saving throw being more for your own personal stomach, as this is always a bit of a thing when this happens. You find yourself, Adam, what seems to be suddenly on a courtroom stand.
Oh.
Looking around, you see assembled before you in rows and rows of wooden pews are devils, demons, monsters, hideous creatures, all wearing suits, ties, dresses, bowler hats, little monocles. A lot of them with cameras are taking pictures, some with little notebooks. You see in front of you on the right are some people you know. You see Jim Hawkins, Thumbelina, Mr. Incredible, Jasmine, Morph, and a figure who you're not sure who this gentleman is, but he seems to be wearing more like plaidish armor, like very elven style, to be honest. But then, oh wait, excuse me, Adam, you've met this person before, once briefly. This is Kronk, as you remember his name being. But what surprised you? Here's what's surprising. Immediately to your right, like you are kind of in this little box. On your right, there is a large raised wooden platform with two large demonic-looking humanoids. Horns going out of their heads, eyes kind of blackened and red crinkled, both wearing like intricate armor and dress, maybe of this courtroom style. And then looking down, there are two other persons that catch your interest. One sitting to your left-hand side, which Adam, go ahead and make a quick history check. I wonder how much you know about legal proceedings here.
Okay, that one's a 15.
15 is good enough, I will say. You know that on the left-hand side, or what would be, is what we would call like either the prosecution, the attack, the people. On the right is usually the defense or the accused. And so what you're seeing immediately is a lot of these Imagineers, your friends, are on the defense. And on the accusing side, what you see is sitting in smart suit, blue dappled fiery tie is Hades as the prosecution. Standing in front of you, though, what immediately stops you, though, in a lot of this, is a face you've seen before, and the last time you saw it was upon a great wall. You see in lovely white and gold suit, simple, almost halo, not perfectly tangible, but just enough over the head, is Mufasa, standing upright before you, looking at you. Fun fact, this is what happened in one of the other campaigns, and you have now been brought here. But Adam, you see Mufasa standing before you, and Mufasa kind of like gives a pause, just, there's a lot to explain. You have been summoned as one of the jurors or peers in the case of the Imagineers versus Tartarus.
Okay.
You see Mufasa turns back, just kind of like with that, like, I'll explain as we go, but turns back to the assembly, is just, Your Honors, we have summoned the hero Adam, King of France, well known throughout the region as a prime example of what should be a hero, worthy to help judge and give verdict for peers of the Imagineers. You see Hades raises a hand, though, just, Your Honors, isn't it known that Adam himself is an Imagineer, one known to have traveled with said persons? The judges kind of look at you. You see one of them, man, kind of pointed black beard, like in that very, think Jafar-esque, that little point and swirl. The other woman, black hair, very long, graceful. Both turn and look at you, just, is this true that you traveled and were friends with these Imagineers?
I did travel with them, and I was an Imagineer, but I have since moved on to a different group. I'm no longer part of the Imagineers.
Hades' eyes kind of narrow, just that annoyance. You see Mufasa just, and of course, we are not to judge whether being an Imagineer was good or bad, but current Imagineers, if their crimes are unjust and worthy of punishment. Therefore, Adam is worthy of being one of the jurors of Tartarus to judge in the court of Hero. You see the female judge just sustains it, goes through some of the proceeding. And Adam, you are invited to sit in these 4 little seats. You actually see sitting next to you are a couple interesting people. You see Mulan, Princess of China. You see Tiana, current princess and sovereign of the Bayou, though not officially elected city-state yet. And there's one more open chair next to you that is still empty. Adam, as this is going on, a small little like demonic imp, green ooze is just constantly pulsating out of its cheek that seems to like suck back into its belly, kind of flies up to you, just, all right, sir, welcome. You have been summoned for your court proceedings. Jury duty is a matter we take very seriously. He starts like taking thumbprints, like quick sight signature, just watch give to the best of your abilities, your fair verdict. Of course, all final verdict and judges do come from our lords and rulers of this hellscape, Belial and Fierna. So, honestly, your verdict could mean nothing, but it could be very helpful. You see, Mulan kind of leans over to you, just like, yeah, we're just here, I think, as a formality of heroes. I don't know what's going on. Adam, basically, you're being informed that this is these hero. The Imagineers have asked to be tried under the court of a hero, and you all have been summoned as candidates to be jurors and say, like, well, if these are heroes. Whereas, yes, the demon lords will give final verdicts. Your input is still very valuable in the sense of like, are they good people or not? It's a thing.
Yeah.
Finally, appearing on the stand, going through kind of what you just did as well. You see in a blaze of light, red hair with that little mop pulled back in a blue headband, glistening armor, with sword at his side, the form of Hercules appears on the stand as the final juror. Without much deliberation, Hades raises the concern of, God spawn, but it's quickly dismissed as he's technically a demigod. This kind of all went through also for the Imagineers, the rogues in their session. But Hercules is brought to the stand next to you. You see Adam, he is looking wild-eyed. It kind of turns to you, like, what's going on?
It's okay. They summoned us here as examples of true heroes.
No, I mean, what's going on? What day is it? Where am I? The last thing I saw, I got hit over the head, and now I'm here.
Oh. Where have you been?
I don't know. Is today still the 27th of Arturin? Adam, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, and it was Arturin, but it wasn't. That's a while ago.
Oh no.
At least 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh no. I got hit harder than I thought. Oh man. Oh geez.
What? Well, okay. We need to catch up.
I just quickly. There's time. There's a lot of those like legal proceedings where then they're starting to read in all the Imagineers. They're going through the official like qualifications for Mufasa, qualifications for Hades. As apparently the Imagineers chose Mufasa out of time and space and persons to be their best defense attorney, which honestly makes sense. I respect them for doing so. They made a good choice there. As this is going through, Hercules kind of fills you in, Adam. Last thing he saw, he was with the Imagineers when they were summoned to Olympus, where he quickly informs you how Hades brought up the charge of, Rapunzel kept bringing people back from the dead. Hades asked the gods to strike them down, but the gods deliberated and said, well, instead, let's give them this quest, not unlike Hercules, to just prove their worthiness, that they're not just unashamedly, going against the gods' will, but that they are heroes as well. But Hercules informs you, but before I could go back with them, Zeus, my dad, sent me away talking about how I still had my quest to go on. And I was in a field with Pegasus, and I started just heading towards the nearest town, and it got dark. And then I think I was dreaming. I think I fell asleep, but then something just hit me over the head. I don't know. It gets really blurry after that.
Well, I guess jury duty is a bit of a break then.
Yeah.
But we need to. We have a whole host of other problems going on in Sumani as well.
Oh,
We
God.
had a demon impersonating Mr. Incredible.
You see,
Holy
he
tried-
looks to the Mr. Incredible on the stand like, him?
No. I guess I don't know.
Oh, oh no.
He got banished back. I guess if the real Mr. Incredible has been with the Imagineers, then maybe that would be the real one. Would I be able to do some kind of like check to see it, like investigating the Mr. Incredible that's down there on the floor? I see if he's, has the right mannerisms and things of the Incredible that I remember.
Yes, perfect. Give me a perception or a history check. I'll think either one would really help you at this time. While this is going on, Cadel and Belle, you guys are up on the surface. Adam has disappeared. You see Snow immediately is kind of freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, do we need spells? Was he taken? Can we counterspell this? Do we bring him back? And you see Cruella has kind of just like raised an eyebrow and just walked away. So Cruella has walked off to talk to like press and stuff. Snow is looking at you two in that like, what's going on?
So my first reaction was going to be to raise a hand to cast Hold Person on Cruella, and I'm going to physically stop myself because I know she has all of her bodyguards around, and I'm like, okay, we're tired. We can't fight another person right now. So
it's like she's got her bodyguards. There's press, and also right now there are like other civil servants who are checking you out to be like, okay, like, follow my finger. Are you feeling okay? Like minor cuts and bruises. Just because again, there was like more of an attack, just to make sure everyone's okay. Sorry. And so what else are you doing at this time? Stopping yourself though from holding person on Cruella.
and then I am going to cast telepathy with Adam if I can.
I
We have
would
to do.
definitely allow it. That's a pretty good spell to use. Just checking it real quick, making sure there's no caveats of what could stop it.
Yeah,
No, yeah, it's there.
one caveat might be same plane of existence.
Yes, it's until spell target recognizes. Here's what I will do. Because you're trying to, unfortunately, it's just telepathy though with something that's not in your plane of existence. But it's smart though, Belle. Of course, you would try to reach out because it's like, well, I could at least try to talk to him. Let me make a roll real quick. Here's what I'm gonna say. As of right now, with your telepathy, you reach out to immediately catch his psychic signature somewhere of that, like, how do I speak to him? And you immediately feel that Adam is nowhere on this plane. That's something that's easy enough to discern when it doesn't work. I'm not going to say though it's a wasted spell yet. It's just more that when you try to make a phone call and the other person doesn't pick up, honestly, it doesn't mean much. It's just that okay, they're not at home, but if they're not at home, where are they? What else would you like to do?
Not on this plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna be freaking out. I'm like, what did Cruella do to this to him? Because I'm immediately thinking she did something. Because she showed up, he disappeared, she walked away, and so I'm assuming she had something to do with his disappearance.
Gotcha.
I'm going to send a message then to Snow, just telepathically, just say, hey, this is what I think just happened.
Awesome. Unfortunately, so Snow can receive that back. Snow doesn't have right now, just because of the stuff she was doing, some of her other spells. Again, she's still getting way more proficient as the years go by in magic. But she's able to get this message, kind of nods at both Cadel and Belle, and just that okay. Looking around, Snow is then going to message back just in that very brief then, I'll go talk to the press if you guys keep investigating what's going on. Just because you see, she keeps looking and she, in this message so that you guys hear, just in that, like, I don't feel comfortable leaving Cruella alone with the press. So let me go talk. You guys, I trust you both. Giving that, like, kind of slow nod at Cato, because again, you've done a lot in the past day, but just in that, like, we'll see where this goes. Snow then goes off. You see, then she joins
Really
up
quick,
with.
before she goes off,
Yes.
I'm also gonna send a message to her, just like, hey, also Cruella mentioned like killing a whole bunch of people that were part of Mr. Incredible's army. Can we like put them on trial? I don't think we should just automatically kill them because a lot of these people are innocent. So like,
Yeah, I honestly was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, no, both of you are totally correct. Snow is going to agree with this, and that, like, oh yeah, we're not just going to murder people for what? Following orders? Like, they didn't know what they were doing.
No, it just seemed like so like, oh, Cruella, I don't know what to do. So I was like, no, let's just use a little bit of level-headedness. Yes.
Snow, then you see she nods, just yes, I'll go figure this out. Cruella has no right and authority right now to give those rules or laws. So she kind of leaves you guys, goes off immediately though. As she comes, cameras start flashing more. A lot of people, of course, is like, yes, head of the council of princesses here. So you two are alone. Would you like to do any other sort of investigations? Because right now there's not a lot of people by you. You have a little more freedom to move as you would.
Is it possible for me to make like a magic investigation check on Cruella? Like if there's something like demonic about her?
Yes, Cadel, there is a fun trait you have called Divine Sense. Whereas if you trigger a Divine Sense, you only have as many uses of Divine Sense as your Charisma score. So I think right now you should have like 3 or 4. But it's something that you can Divine Sense anything within.
Actually, I have a 6 looking at my chart. Yeah,
right,
I got a +6 on my charisma.
It's charisma +1. Yes. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's the 5 you have +1 because you buffed up your charisma. I'm remembering all this now. So what you can do with your Divine Sense is it will tell you within 60 feet of you, so it's not like a perfect range, 60 feet of any celestial, fiend, or undead, and like location. It won't tell you, unfortunately, like size or where they are, or like a perfect where they are. It's not like a haha, I found you, but it does give you that sense of like where they could be, and you can start like gauging of like, is something close by. So if you want to use that Divine Sense, I'll say, Belle, you see Cadel again under this very purplish helmet, eyes glow green, just in that sense of light. You see, as the green glows, Cadel, you feel surrounding you the sense of undead, but what you quickly realize is, oh, you kind of like do that look down at yourself, look back down. Right.
It's like, oh, right, yeah.
But what I will tell you though is you're not feeling any other undead right now. It's like, yes, I'm the undead, unfortunately, in the room. Within 60 feet of me, there's no further living skeletons, there's no undead, even in the crowd, which is important to note. You do feel, though, not celestial, but a fiendish presence coming from somewhere within the 60 feet of you. If you would like, you can give me, I will say, either an Arcana or an investigation check to try to like narrow it down of like, do I feel like it's coming from here? Because if you kind of move with your Divine Sense, it almost acts like that compass of, ooh, did it just leave and come back? Well, what's over there?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try the investigation. I mean, either way, it's the same value for me, but
it's the same. It's more like different information could be gained from different type.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's fiendish, I'll go with Arcana in this case. So
Gotcha.
yeah. Okay, so rolling.
What'd you get?
3.
3.
Oh, I
Uh,
was just, yeah.
Yeah.
Cadel, unfortunately, with a 3, it's hard to tell. Whereas, unfortunately, Cruella, Snow, her bodyguards, a couple reporters, Belle, even like if there's things back behind you, it like maybe like just inside the building, because in this pathway of that 60-foot radius, that 120-foot bubble, something inside of it seems to be fiend. But right now, it's hard to tell where it's coming from, or if it's like a presence. What I will say, just a natural, it's not like a strong presence. Whereas when you were like face to face with Mr. Incredible and you had that like rotting smell of evil that like arcanely permeated your actual bones, no pun intended, it's something where it's like that was an intense presence that you could like feel and smell and just everything around it. This presence is like a fiendish presence, but quite minor, honestly. Something that doesn't feel incredibly powerful, just lingering of like it's bouncing off like your magical radar in that very like sense of a ping that doesn't seem like big, just there. While you're doing this, then I will ask Belle, what would you like to be doing while Cadel starts like, because this takes some time of like divine sensing and starting to like kind of look around, maybe do that feel out. What would you like to do right now, Belle?
I think I just like to like detect magic kind of on the area that Adam was standing and see if I can piece together anything else.
Yeah, you detect magic as your eyes, this is pretty fun. Like Cadel, your eyes are glowing green. Belle, your eyes are glowing blue. And that's just like arcane. So like if anyone was watching you two, you guys look scary, right? Like eyes glowing, magic radiating off you, just in that power sense. But you guys are just looking around. Belle, as your eyes start glowing into the arcane, you start feeling around where Adam was. There is no, so here's what's important to know. Out of where Adam was, there is no visible creatures or like anything, but there seems to be something invisible, like an invisible object on the ground. When you detect this, as you go down, this type of magic, let me make sure I tell you correctly, is Conjuration Magic. So magic meant to, well, in a nutshell, move, teleport, shift, like stuff you could have rightfully assumed again as Adam seemed to disappear, and it wasn't like a war magic of like, oh shoot, there's scorch marks where he was standing. Some sort of conjuration magic has appeared though in this little area. What I will say is this object on the ground seems to be a tight little cylinder, and it's, as you detect magic, you are sensing it though. You're seeing that like ethereum glow in the back of your mind. It is not visible though by any physical means.
This little cylinder isn't visible, but I can sense it.
Yes.
Can I pick it up? Can I try like feeling around and picking it up? Or
yeah, you feel around as you kind of feel it. In touching it, cold metal feeling, hits your finger as like placing it on. And then, but in touching it, nothing happens, thankfully. It is something that you can then pick it up. And as you look at this thing in your hands, I will then give Cadel, as the object is now moving, that slight fiendish sense has now shifted a little. And so Belle,
just in general, yeah.
Just in general, and that like, because again, your divine sense lasts a little bit. Same with your detect magic, Belle. That upon picking this up, you pick it up, and Cato, something kind of shifts. Because again, it's like, stop, feel, wait, do I know where it's coming from? I don't. Wait, it just moved.
Am I able to do like a roll where I can like focus a little bit more on that divine sense on where that movement was?
Yes, what I will say is go ahead and make me another roll. This one will then be.
I mean, I also want to like. Sorry.
No, you're good. What I'll say is this will be like a pure investigation type roll of just stop, focus, because you're trying to then start pinpointing where this thing is.
Okay. Also, I want to like notice that like Belle is like, you know, looking for something, and I kind of want to shift in front of her so there's no attention towards her, just so like nothing looks weird, because it's just like she just literally went to the ground and like picked up nothing to other people, where it's like, you know, I can tell she noticed something invisible, but like
Yes.
I want to like, you know,
being in the same general vicinity, it's that like, oh, she's doing something. Make sure though it doesn't look odd or abnormal. You can definitely do that. So go ahead and make that roll.
okay. That's persuasion for that one, or
That one's free. Like that's what I'm gonna say is like that's just passing any like low level checks of like, and we're obscuring view. What'd you get?
10.
Excellent. On a 10, this slight fiendish presence feels close. Honestly, it doesn't feel like far. It feels much closer upon like introspection and like stop and focus. Belle, as you pick up whatever this like metallic cylinder could be in your hands, it feels rather cold, and it feels not completely solid. As you're holding this, like something inside may be hollow, as it has just enough of that weight where it doesn't feel like a complete impermeable object. Something might be like, you can press this thing and it kind of like bends and shifts just a little bit under your touch.
Would it feel kind of like paper or parchment, or like kind of a sponge, or you know, in that like where it's a little bit pliable, or like clay? Like what
In
kind
that little bit pliable, I'll give you that. It feels very papery, like very stiff paper, but something that just enough just can like push through.
I don't have this prepared, but I want to like. Yeah, I'll have to. I
You
can't
can
remember.
ritual cast things if you have ritual. What spell is it?
Identify. Does it have?
Oh, identify is a ritual cast.
Okay, so I want to ritual cast identify on it because I don't have it
Excellent.
prepared.
This is gonna. It takes just a minute. It's not too long. Upon identify, Belle, you get the soft voice in your head that explains, yes, a jury summons return scroll used in the courts of hell when advocating or on trial or for witness purpose, to then have a anchor point back to the mortal realm from whence the summons occurred.
I'm like, okay, he was summoned. I'm gonna explain to Keto. Okay, he was summoned to hell.
Cato, upon hearing that, the fiendish present makes sense because this is an object from hell. It's a hell
okay, it's
scroll.
that object. Okay,
Yes.
okay, so it's not a person. All right, okay.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, and so that does explain though. It's like, okay, but that's what's also good to note is out of all the people within your vicinity of like Cruella, her bodyguards, everyone, all human, no undead, no celestial, and no fiend. These are just people. But yes, Belle, of
I
course,
do want to relay that to Belle though. Like, okay, then there's no other demonic presence here.
Perfect. And so you guys have this information now of Adam he just got summoned. Jury duty hits you at the worst times, honestly. Let's be honest.
I'm gonna calm down a little bit and still like really confused why he was randomly summoned. But I'm going to like hold on to this, and it is not leaving my person, because if it is one of those like once he's done, it'll summon him back. I want him to connect.
Yes. And well done about that, Bell, because yes, this is kind of with the identify. When he's done, he returns back to where the scroll is. It's why it's made invisible. It's just to be like, so for all intents and purposes, the best place to put someone is just back where they were, for better or for worse. But by taking it with you, it does negate something else finding it. Adam, we're traveling back down to hell now. As everyone's being read through the court, here's what gets surprising for you. As they finish reading in, you watch actually, and what did you get earlier also on that like history or perception to try to figure out the Mr. Incredible scenario?
I got a 22 history. I don't recall his mannerisms.
You're going to get some good stuff then. You see Mr. Incredible. He is looking, while confident, he does have moments of thought and contemplation. You see him like he'll lean over and talk to Kronk, or he'll lean over and talk to Mufasa and like stop. You see actually he's writing stuff down, like thinking and looking and like, but still with that like confident bravado of leaning back in the chair smile. Adam, these are a lot of the mannerisms of the Mr. Incredible you knew. Whereas he was always that brash, quick with a joke, quick with a punch. He was never dumb or airheaded. He was a person who could think, who could plan. And that's something that even that fake Mr. Incredible, you only really were around him for like an hour or so. Even already, that was not him. That was like a Mr. Incredible, no holds barred, full of bravado.
Yeah.
And so I would say with the 22, you're really able to know this must be the original or the actual Mr. Incredible. Also on a 22, I will give you some other things. You look, and on Mr. Incredible's hand, you see he is not holding any ring. You know, of course, that the ring you got from the imposter was that ring of war. And so you see, of course, in that like, yes, this must not be him. He has no ring on him right now. Whereas you look over though, and around Thumbelina's waist, you see another ring with that small droplet with skull inside, which you remember was one of the other rings you were all looking for.
Yeah.
That's actually something that happened after you left. So Adam, you don't know about this, but it sounds like Thumbelina's holding one of those last rings we need. Of course, we don't know where the ring of death went and the ring fat, but it's like out of the known rings, she's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember Arthur and Agatha told us that she had the ring tonight. So, yeah.
And here's what I'll say: you'll be able to communicate with them pretty well, because you're going to be talking to the accused rather frequently. As the courtroom is going through, Adam, a lot of this has been done. For those watching this, go back and watch some of our previous sessions. These can be found under session 68 and session 65 in total for the rogues. But through these sessions, Adam, you, Hercules, Mulan, and Tiana are presented with quite a bit of evidence, where Kronk goes first, and his court is done in 30 minutes because honestly, the most they found on him was he worked for Yzma, but he worked of his own accord. He was never doing this maliciously, and honestly, it was a job. He was never evil. He was a hireling. It's that like kind of general. Yes, Adam.
So sorry, just like before things get too far on, I didn't want to call over like that weird imp gross steward guy.
Yes.
And I wanted to like ask like, hey, I was doing some pretty important heroic stuff up there. I need to get a message back to my wife and tell her where I went.
Oh, right. We'll do that at the next available recess then, your hero-ness, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Don't worry. We usually take recesses in hell about once every 200 years.
Oh,
He kind of a little more ooze as he like flaps off into like, because he goes over, there's like a court recorder with a lot of long fingers sprouting out of its hands, like this demon typing furiously. Unfortunately, Adam, it's tough. Yeah, the Imagineers didn't get a recess much either. There's not a ton of like pause time, shall we say.
Yeah.
As this is going on, though, Kronk's goes by really quickly, is what you find. In going through, next up in the order you see is, let me check my notes actually. I can tell you directly. Kronk went first. Next up, you find Morph. Now, Morph's trial got a little more intensive in the terms of like, technically, Morph worked with Long John Silver and with a piratical crew. Mufasa, though, advocated, like, again, like with Kronk, Morph was simply acting in their best interest, helping out Silver, never true piratical crimes, just as a hireling almost. And in the end, the judges do find that, well, can we really condemn that? So they ordered Morph, of course, to cut ties with Silver, a court appointed, like, do not contact, because if this is an evil person, don't talk to them. But as the trial goes on, what you are seeing is the real reason for the trial, Adam, isn't all these other crimes. Like, no one really cares if Kronk stole some spinach, 2 years ago because he was hungry. No one really cares if Morph, like, acted with pirates. The problem is they have been going through hell and killing these devil lords, the lords of the hells. And it's something that Mufasa keeps advocating, just saying like, hey, let's push this down the line. Let's try them all at once. And just so that we're not having to like be here forever for each person and say, well, were they justified in killing a devil lord? It's that kind of vibe. As you're going through, here's where it then gets interesting. Adam, Jasmine is brought to the stand. And you find in her crimes, she gets one of the longer rap sheets so far of all of her crimes involving just a lot of like theft, burglary, larceny, just these general things. One of the things is spoons totaling 200 pieces worth about 1,500 gold from the Kingdom of France. Jasmine gives you the side eye while she's on the stand. This crime is read out because, of course, and most demons do. It's that like the little gas goes up, people start scribbling, taking pictures. As people look at you, the King of France, currently here. Actually, this is something we can kind of do. Jasmine, what kind of motion do you give to Adam in this moment?
I'm giving him the fakest contrite look ever.
All right. Since we happen to have one player to us living together, I'll just give you that. So Jasmine just does that. And Adam, unfortunately, you're just having to watch that like, hey, wait a second.
I let out a very like, just like taking him at my spoons.
Just that, my spoons. As the court goes on, Mufasa and Jasmine, though, give a very compelling argument that it is the culture of Agrabah, not to steal in malicious sense, but in the general economic growth of how the persons live, that honestly, the demons don't really mind. While it's a court of hero, these are demonic entities, and that the idea of, oh, stealing is your way of life, well, I guess we can't really like punish you for doing what your people want of you. Like, if this is what the people want, and a lot of them like stealing, I guess we can't like be mean at that. So Jasmine does, though, get court ordered. This is important. She gets a court ordered therapy to work out her issues with her father. Yes. Jasmine maybe doesn't meet your eye. She goes, sits back down. Fun fact, she still has them.
Well, not all of them. I bartered some away, remember?
Yes, some spoons have been bartered away, so they're not all there. The court, though, goes on, eventually finding Jim, who is brought up on accounts of piracy, that organized crime. But Jim advocates we've yet to ever actually perform acts of piracy. We've been adventuring. Technically, we're an adventuring party. But eventually, we've come to Thumbelina. Now, Thumbelina, what you are given, again, the little green imp kind of flutters by, dropping little papers in front of you for this one, as Thumbelina has been asked to be tried under the court of a hero, but that's the court of moralities that she has chosen. As with all the rest of the party, she has instead chosen, whereas everyone else has chosen to be tried as a mortal humanoid creature, something with a soul that can die, go to the hells. Thumbelina has been asked to try under the court of the Fae or Fairy. Adam, in not too much legal jargon, if you want to give me, though, an insight check on this, because there is actually some interesting stuff that could happen with this.
That is an 18.
18 is going to beat the DC. By being charged as a hero, Thumbelina can be charged as Thumbelina. But on that insight and looking at this like little piece of paper, detailing like, okay, here's what you should look for now. Here's how decisions can be made. Thumbelina is not just being asked to be tried as Thumbelina, but also as Petalbud. That by being charged under the court of fairies or fae, she will not renounce her citizenship or her life of the fairy, which if she did, so much of her crimes would just be washed away. Because it's that like, I was resurrected into a new person as Thumbelina. I could just have all those gone. Don't charge me for it. But if she does so, she would lose any and all status of being this princess of the fairy court, of being the fairy godmother. There's a lot to be lost. And so you see, she has chosen to be given this court to have like a better sense of like keeping both of her worlds together. Here's then where I'm going to make a roll, and it's going to be a bit shocking for Belle and Cadel. Belle and Cadel, we are now 3 weeks in the future.
Gosh.
As time moves
jeez.
horribly differently the further down you go in hell. And they're pretty far down already. Belle, here's what you guys have found. The cylinder, you guys, like, you can keep casting identify, detect magic, doesn't change. And I will actually give you this over time. You can even like uninvisible it, like figuring out how to dispel the magics around it, where like, oh, you can even find the paper. It's very simple, just sigil Belle that under brief investigation, and you could even call in that help from Agatha. Yeah, we'll bring Adam back when the courts have made their decision. But unfortunately, as Merlin could attest, Merlin being the more formidable, like, I guess knowledge isn't the best word because he's absolutely insane. The formidable head of authority over hell and demons and devils, Merlin can explain, of course, we just don't know when stuff's going to go down or when it's going to not, right? Like, if they're being tried, and of course Merlin could help you guys kind of assume, like, if he's down there, it's probably because, like, not he would be charged, but as like either a witness or a juror. Usually to be charged in hell, you have to have committed crimes in hell. You can't just, like, normal people don't just get summoned there for no reason. But as you're seeing here, again, Snow has, of course, graciously offered any and all rooms in her place to live. Like, there's no real place where Cadel, even you can have your own private room with Belle, as you guys are all kind of like waiting on the scroll. Because what you will find is over this time, Snow was able to talk down the press. Right now, there is an open call for the like rounding up of Mr. Incredible's armies, but for trials to say, like, what was your involvement? What was your implications? Because up until this, we don't know when Mr. Incredible was really swapped. We don't know what orders they knew of, because for the most part, for the past 2 years, this has been a public service group. But I will say, Belle, it is a soft early morning, about middle of these weeks. now we are coming up upon the end of Elysium, this first month already. As you sit there looking at the spell scroll, Florian actually is in this like penthouse, just kind of like making breakfast while Snow went out for an early morning meeting. As he's cooking, you see Florian looks up just in that like, would you like any bell peppers in your eggs this morning at all? Or as Bell, you feel your hands start tingling, your hair starts tingling, glowing as you disappear. Cadel, you're like maybe in your room. You hear Florian.
I get it. You know.
I'm so, Cadel, it's a good thing. Don't get summoned to Hell Court. It's not a trip. It's not a vacation.
It's so good.
Cadel, though, Florian quickly calls you in, just like, I think your friend has been summoned. She's gone. And of course, now that you know what you're looking for, you tap her out, you find a little spell scroll there.
I'm immediately going to pocket that away on my person because it's just like, you know.
Adam and Bell are now. Well, we can't just leave these lying around. Crap. Where are they?
Yeah.
You putting them just in a bag or somewhere like safe on your person of like, okay, now we just have to wait. Adam, what you see is during Thumbelina's trial, a witness has been called to attest to Thumbelina's involvement and rather her like right to rule. You know, see, Hades has brought up during this trial the sense of, is she really like worth it? Can we judge, like, is she really worthy of being considered a royal hero when she's done nothing really for her kingdom? She led her people on in a lie. She went off after the destruction of her mother and sisters to just kind of like leave her people behind. And whereas Mufasa tried to advocate and be like, well, we have Adam here, he could speak on her behalf. Hades overruled and said he has to remain impartial for now as a juror. And so rather another close Imagineer and technically royalty and magical user, Belle, you have been summoned as a witness. Belle, appearing in this courtroom, small little green imp flutters over to you just like, hello, miss. Hands you a little scroll. It's got your little like, here's what you are. Speak, you know, in your honors to those that are high up. No summoning gods, you know, like little things of like, hey, we're hell, don't do this. Going through quick though, Belle, you look over and can see Adam sitting on the juror stand with Hercules, Tiana, and Mulan. And Adam, of course, very clearly, hey, Adam.
I'm just gonna like visibly like,
I'm alive.
Adam, it has been maybe like 2 hours for you. Belle, it's been 18 days. You know, it's like coming up on 3 weeks. I'm like, good Lord, where'd he go? As this is coming up, Hades walks up to you first, Belle. And you see, as he comes, he says, right, now, Miss Oracle Belle of France, is it? Now, before you, you see he points over to Thumbelina. Before you is a fairy that has magic, has power, has strength, and has royal lineage declared by the yada yada, whatever mistake made their family royals. You are of the same line, having married, is that correct, into the royal family of one kingdom of France. Now, do you think, Miss Belle, that your friend is a good person?
well, having saved my life on multiple occasions, of course.
Ah, she saved your life. That's pretty good. Yeah, saving lives is nice. Now, I must ask though, do you think not saving the lives of 10,000 fairy soldiers could be problematic?
I honestly don't know the answer.
You see, you don't have to answer even because Hades will even take that just like, oh, okay, well, let me put it another way. Yes, let's not count all the countless men and women who died under her command. Let's instead go to, oh, got it, her sister. One Maleficent, otherwise known as Moonbeam of the Fae Court, her sister, who was killed by the actions of one Thumbelina the Imagineer. That wasn't very heroic, though. She didn't save her life. What made you so special?
I'm going to make a point of looking at the judge when I answer
Gotcha.
now, because now that I've like kind of settled down and I'm like, okay, Hades, you're not the judge. Like, wait, I don't have to answer to you. I'm just gonna give the judge a very pointed look.
Okay.
Whether they're looking at me or not. And just say, well, aren't there like Thumbelina has had it, I remember everything in Traverse sessions, but like she had her memory issues and like there were some trauma things, and so like aren't there measures in place to that would kind of protect her and like negate those any charges that happened before she officially became Thumbelina, because she hasn't always been Thumbelina.
You see, as you bring this up, Hades does say, it's like, yes, she's not always been Thumbelina, but asking to be tried as Thumbelina Petalbud for the fairy court, we must attest for all her actions. Now, Miss Bell, I will just ask you one thing. Do you think that Thumbelina is a good person?
I'm going to stare at Thumbelina for a little bit. And like, we have a relationship. We're really good friends. And I'm just gonna give her the like most loving smile that I can endure and just look back at the judge and say, yeah. Like a sister.
You see, Hades says, the prosecution will rest for now, Your Honor. As Mufasa comes up, jumping off that, just, yes, one Thumbelina is a good friend, a good person, and a hero. Heroes are not without their flaws and mistakes, but the courts will find my client has done more for the good of not only her people, but the people of Dizania as a whole. And Mufasa kind of leads you through very gently, Belle, your adventures, those early times where meeting with Thumbelina, in the Cave of Wonders, traveling and fighting on the pirate ships, going across, like all the way up to the Cave of Owlshish, just kind of like showing like how she's always been this very good person. During this time, as everything's going through, eventually, though they take this testimony, Belle, you see that these judges, the smaller, the more like the woman of the two, just well, thank you, Miss Bell. You may return back to the mortal plane. Your services are no longer required. We shall keep testimony and record for further use. As you feel your skin bubble, tingle.
I'm gonna be like, wait.
Wait. Oh gosh. Ketel, it was 10 days from now. As again, not much is happening in Sumani. People are getting more and more freaked out. It is now one of the first days of McCannon. It's McCannon's the second month of the second day of the second month, that Belle appears back in Sumani. As Ketel, there's like the classic, well, let me train, down at the guards. And like you could take those like minor bodyguard positions for like Snow, for Florian, just like helping around. But there's not much to do while you wait and hope, because where do you go from here? I mean,
Could I have also written to? Could I have also have written to Fiona and Derek to like let them know like, hey, I'm fine, everything's going
Yes.
well, and all that.
Yes, you may, because there's plenty of time, unfortunately. With it's
Yeah.
good for the rogues. I mean, Adam and Bell's testimonies and Beingers really did help, but it sucks for you guys. I'm like, crap, we're stuck. It's this weird time work. Cadel, you get these messages back, of course, that Fiona and Derek, that mother and her son who kind of were like hosting you as you recuperated, kind of found really more yourself, are glad you're doing okay. Again, they're in Sumani, and I would even say it wouldn't have been like that much to like visit once or twice, when you have those off hours from not being around Snow and Florian, to like go visit them, to kind of like view the city, because here's what you will find out, Cadel. In this time, there was no word from Cruella, as the current bead on the street is after everything went down the embassy, Cruella went off to go to some of her like factories and other like, shall we call them like host villages of like, oh yeah, I like sponsor this town to like give them food and money and they like work for me. It's the grossest thing where you're like, man, that's really close to slavery. Like you're basically there. You're just calling it like, oh, I'm paying them to do stuff, but like you're not. But that's it. Cruella hasn't been in Sumani for the past like now 28 days, almost a month. She has been abroad in the country. As this happens though, late one night, Belle, as you're saying, wait, you, Cadel sitting there in that penthouse with Snow and Florian, as they were just like kind of doing some like light reading. You were just kind of like guarding. Again, it's work. They're gonna pay you for it. Belle, you appear standing next to Cadel. Belle, you feel the scroll rise out of the sack, and in a burst of light, Belle, you are standing back on the mortal plane.
And I'm just gonna like, first I'm gonna like explain to them, like, okay, this is what went down. This is what's going on. And Adam's still stuck there.
And Adam's still in hell. No. Here's what we do. Adam, Thumbelina, through some intense testimony for and against her from even her own advisor, eventually is what is shown. The court, though, finds very closely that she is still considered a hero, that her crimes were heroic, and she still has right of rule then to her people, given then, of course, the Fae shall rule that she can come back. The demons have no real say, but it does help to say, we can't find anything wrong. If they found something wrong, it would look bad, but she now has good standings of like, hey, court found me worthy. Here's also what's important to know. At one point, Adam, Thumbelina sneaks out after her trial and is going to come talk to you. Because in that general, like, hey, what's going on up there, everything, this is a time where you could get the ring from her. This is something, again, I helped facilitate using the other group, where, Belle, you had already given some of those portents, to send back down. Adam, what we flavored it as, Adam, you were able to give portents to them in exchange for this ring of disease, where Thumbelina can give it to you, because it was that like, oh, we can actually get this to you guys safely. No like middleman. Not that we don't trust Merlin, but you never know what Merlin's gonna do. It's that very safe, like, okay, if you guys are needing the rings, trying to send them to Agatha, collecting them, we can do this now, like having this trade-off. Where Thumbelina cannot do that because she has that greater invisibility and was able to just kind of like sneak. Here's then where it gets a little intense. Adam, up until this point, you've been watching the Imagineers. There has been one figure on the bench with the Imagineers that was always kind of like hunched over, not like in like a bad way, but just kind of like head down, just kind of sitting there. You hear this though, which catches your eye, calling to the stand one James Hook. You see lifting up very different, again, wig gone. Any makeup, any like stylings of like mustache and beard gone. Raggedy clothes, very like blood and mud splattered, like still very roguish debonair with like a holster and sword. But what you know as Hook is brought to the stand. Hook is put on the stand. You are given the papers about it. Hook is being tried as a hero. You see he's being tried as a hero under this court of law, under, the court of immortal, being immortal. Man, you see, though, as they read in through his crimes, a lot of crimes involving piracy, stuff like the manslaughter of pirates, of lost boys, of ferries, stealing and bartering of ships and stolen goods. This is what's important. No crimes of morality, though. Something important for a crime morality. No drugs involving or like drugs, prostitution, gambling, stuff that would be counted as mortal sin in the eyes of a demon. No counts of for Hook. But what's most interesting is Hook is being brought up on a crime of abandonment of family and of domestic abuse due to abandonment of family. As you see, James Pleiades Hook is brought to the stand. As this is read, you see Jim Hawkins stands up completely in the middle of the court. Everyone kind of looks at him. He sits back down. The court continues on, like nothing really happens. What you watch, Adam, is, and I will give you guys more of a summarized version, a horribly heart-wrenching tale of one James Pleiades Hawkins Sr. working at the shipyards on a distant planet, falling in love with a young woman named Sarah, marriage, a young child, but eventually after buying the Admiral Benbow this inn on the hill, bills and payments came up until Hook found a job being offered on a private schooner with no heading, no set mission, but for quite a bit of credit and gold. Whereas an argument broke out between him and his wife, Hook taking this job to set up, to pay off the bills, to set up Jim with school funding. And we see that scene from Treasure Planet of what we now know as Hook heading off to the ship, young Jim running behind, seeing him leave. But we then see the ships heading after many solar cycles being sucked into a black hole that no one could have expected. Hook losing grip, falling through, and waking up on the island of Neverland. We see his body being dragged through the waters, how Hook immediately was taken in by the Azamar and the Fae, how he offered them, asking, and Hook finding out that the Fae have access to powerful magic wish granting energies, but keep it locked away from any mortals no matter what. We watch as centuries and then millennia go by of Hook pleading and bargaining, eventually starting to make deals, pirates that have come to the shores, him starting to make deals with the pirates and the Fae, slowly dissolving and becoming madder and crazier until the Hook we all know was born. This was a big thing again for the rogues. Adam, what you see is Mufasa brings up, and in his opening statement, immediately, of course, is this is a man who was driven insane. We are pleading insanity. The Fae madness of fairies and demons are very similar. Be around a demon too long, mortal minds corrupt. Be around fairies too long, they have madness and corruptions too. It's something then Thumbelina is brought to the stand as a witness to believe, like, yes, the Fae have these kind of horrible systems set up of try to stay with us too long, bad stuff happens. But that the magic of Neverland kept Hook perpetually there. And because Hook always was trying to get the magic to return home, as Mufasa tries to claim, that they had no other alternative, that eventually he just went crazy, that while these were mistakes, they were done in sanity, that Hook is already advocating for a better life, trying to come clean and do better, but Hades is not doing well with this. Adam, here's where it gets important. I have kind of been assuming, I hope not wrongfully so, that after each of these trials, you are asked as the jury what you believe if these people are innocent or guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been assuming, as the rest of the three jurors have been assuming, that even though your decision isn't technically the final one, the judges could still make further decisions. It's heavily influenced to be like, this is what we honestly believe. Let's hope that makes a case for them. Going through this, Hook is on stand. Adam, you know a lot of Hook's crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, in the paper in front of you, this rap sheet, which is almost like a book's worth of crimes, because it details out the name of every pirate he ever stabbed, the lost boy he ever made walk the plank, the fairy he ever captured and said, "I don't believe in blank," until the fairy passed. Like, these are serious crimes. Hook isn't making any eye contact, though. He's giving very just general, like, simple statements of just like, yes, this was my goal. There was madness. These were my actions. Hades, of course, taking this offense of, the dude abandoned his kid and brings Jim to the stand. We see, and Jim has to go through this. And you see, though, Jim does claim that, yes, Hook, while evil, is not James Hook Hawkins, who needs to become better, and that by ruling that he is irredeemable, claims that fey madness and demonic madness then perpetuate one's like unimportant agency, saying like, because Hook was mad, that was truly his agency, whereas we would not claim the same thing for demonic madness. That's why demons have the madness. They use it because it forces people against their will to do evil acts. And so it's saying like, the Fae did this, it's that same level. Intense court goes on. Eventually, Adam, you and Hercules, Mulan, and Tiana are asked to deliberate. These are just small demi-planes. The four of you are alone. It just kind of brings you to a quick like empty plane just to talk. What would you think of this?
So yes, there's redemption for people and stuff, but I'm not gonna vote in favor for Hook.
Okay. You take that vote. You see Tiana is sitting there. You see she says, I don't know personally this man, but I have seen men like him, and I do see where good can come. If he is with the Imagineers and we petition for him to serve with them, I would vote in favor of the Court of a Hero with that stipulation. Mulan then takes her vote. You see, she says, the people of China have heard all too often of his crimes. While done through madness, I could not reasonably vote in correct conscience of him, and I will also vote no. To which decision turns to Hercules. You see Hercules, who looks really distraught in this, like, oh man, there's a lot going on. You see he very softly just, I know he's evil. He hurt people like Tiger Lily, like Peter, and he's not good. But I don't know if I should be the one to tell him he can't change. I will abstain. Hercules completely abstain. So Adam and Mulan, technically you have that majority of like this. Tiana does put in her petition of just like, yes, but with this stipulation. the court goes through. The judges take this, deliberate, mostly psychically. You can tell they don't speak out loud. You see, Hook is found to be in action of a hero, but needing to still prove more. That he is not off. He's off trial in the sense of we're not going to continue the court, but there isn't enough information almost. They don't take Tiana's thing, but it's we're going to find him, so to speak, not guilty. But unlike most of the Imaginers, it doesn't clear any crimes. It's more like we have to find him to be, yes, he can be a hero. In the court of law, he's acting to try his best to be a hero. We can't do much else beyond that. You see, Hook comes back down. Kronk, to give you this, has been crying this whole time. Immediately, like, hugs Hook. Kronk is just in tears. Even a lot of the Imagineers don't look mad or like displeased, but you actually see a lot of them, Adam, like especially Thumbelina and Jim, look very just confused. There's a lot of emotion right now. A lot of crazy trauma has been going down with the rogues since you guys kind of get to see that little insight into it. Adam, Mr. Incredible's court goes by, craziest by far, lots of stuff. Is it right for him to erase an army? Well, he did it for good reasons. Well, now that army is being, ravaging through Desanya, they're out of control. Well, that wasn't his fault. He's not there. Eventually bringing down to, should they have killed the Devil Lords? The Devil Lords were acting demonically. And the reason Mufasa comes up with is most of the Devil Lords, quote unquote, asked to be killed in the sense of there was contract, there was rules of engagement laid out. These were not hits put about, save it be like, one where they kind of stabbed him when he appeared. Long story. But Adam, eventually it is given to you as a whole. Do this party of the Imaginers, including Hook, unfortunately, do all of them count as a heroic adventuring party?
As my vote would be yes.
You see Tiana, Mulan, and Hercules all also vote yes. You guys give the decision up. As this happens, you see Belial, the larger male demon lord or devil lord, looks at you all. We thank the jury for their insight and for their willingness to help in our court. We release you back to your planes. With a wave of his hand, Adam, you feel the lights start to shimmer and fade. And we are now on the 10th day of McCannon. Only 8 days later, as really not long after you, Bell. While Hook's trial was intense, it wasn't terribly long. As you guys are seeing here, it is early in the morning. As waking up again, Bell, I'll say it's this. You look to like the spell scroll. It's that, classic morning routine of, is it back yet? It's been over a month and a half. No. But as you think no, you look back, and now the courtyard, you look again, and suddenly Adam is sitting beside the bed, just in this room you guys have. He is there.
And I'm gonna jump out of bed and give him a hug and very happy.
Absolutely adorable. As you guys come out, it is the
yeah, no, I don't, but I'm
it's the 10th day of McCann, 10th day of the second month. As you guys come out, Snow and Florian coming in their rooms, of course, immediately get that little cheer of congratulation. Adam, Florian giving you that handshake, Snow giving you a hug. Cadel, you hear this also from your guards post room and can see they have arrived safe and sound as well. Again, apologies. I wasn't expecting Adam to be sucked away. I kind of knew this was going to happen. I will say, glad it didn't happen though during the fight, which it almost did. But
gosh,
fun stuff about how the parties are interacting together. As you guys are all now here, though, Snow is going to fill you and Adam, as well as Bell and Cadel, over the past not just 8 days, but this month and a half. Again, you guys, when you first came to Sumani, it was about the 5th day of Elysium. it has been now a month and 5 days to where it is now the 10th day of McCannon. The armies of Mr. Incredible are slowly being rounded up, but unfortunately, due to subcontractors and other parties of interest, there are open contracts in the Venatori market, the hunter's market, for these creatures. By bringing in hyena pelt or proof of, like bone, you can get paid for hunting Mr. Incredible's armies right now. Whereas the official law, though, like the official thing from like Snow has been like, let's bring them in on charges. There's been a couple that have been brought in, quickly found like, oh yeah, you guys were just, civil servants. Unfortunately, a lot of army are scattered across the countryside. Reports even say some have made it as far as the bayou, because like Venator, people who need cash, hey, when it's a gold piece a head, that's a wealthy living, so to speak. As well as Snow will give you guys this information. Cruella has not been seen in Sumani this entire time. Snow has her reservation. She thinks that is because she's been doing something, but there's been, unfortunately, pretty well documented evidence that Cruella's been in the public eye, though, the past month while abroad, that she has been going to these like factories or farms, visiting these villages or minor kingdoms of like, yeah, let's see how you're doing. And so like there's not a lot of discrepancy visually, shall we say, like in public record of like any like secrets or like hiding away. But unfortunately, that is how this world is working right now. I will also give you this. Coming up, though, soon is a very important date. The Day of Love is one recognized mostly Dizanian over. You won't really find it in nations like Agrabah or Magentia, unless you celebrate personally Magentia. But the Day of Love is something that most people recognize as like this unofficial holiday of a chance of, hey, either the partners we have or the families we've grown or the people around us, to celebrate them and everything. And in doing so, the city of Sumani has organized, shall we say, a large get together, something where there will be a major party, something where people can come for like food, carnival, like more street fair, but there will be a private dinner held for members of state, dignitaries to come and attend. This is coming up in 4 days. What you guys all, Snow can fill you in. As Belle and Adam, Snow can invite you as like dignitaries from France. It's that like, hey, it's a big day-long thing, and I don't just want to like leave you guys alone. But the other reason Snow's offering this is not only in 4 days will she be there, as well as she can invite you. Cruella has RSVP'd yes to attendance. One of the first times, of course, in this month that she will be seen in Sumani. Other persons of note that maybe would be important. Arthur has been invited, but declined his invitation due to the severe unrest in Magentia and the Law Nation, still due to the lack of clerics. Doc, the head dwarf, king of the Dwarven Nation, has RSVP'd yes in attendance, as well as other important businessmen or persons of wealth, shall we say. Certain people, such as one Mr. Titivilius of the By and Large Company, one Monsieur Skinner of the Chef's Special restaurant and food packaging line, which, Adam, you actually know, very famous, tragic, really. I mean, you were a beast at the time, but 10 years ago, your nation lost one of the like best up-and-coming chefs. But thankfully, his sous chef kept that spirit alive and has made this grand food empire of like processed packaged like quick food, usually used in army scenario, right? Like frozen stuff that like using ice magic can like slowly unfreeze until you need it. So Monsieur Skinner, Mr. Tidevillius, Cruella de Vil are three of these like big kind of like movers and shakers that, while not royal, are big names and have been invited to this like holiday party, so to speak. This banquet, there's the word I'm looking for. And this is 4 days away. So this will be taking on the night of the 14th day of Mechanic. For those wondering, yes, the actual say this would be like February 14th, if you want to see those parallels, just to like, all right. So while this is going on, Snow is giving you all this information, kind of in that like catch you up, Adam. This is the morning. So Snow kind of turned just like, is there anything we should do before then? What do you guys think would be best? Do we just wait for the party? What do you want to do? I mean, you are back if you need time to be together again.
I would ask to beef up security, because if there's all these important people from like all across the world coming together in one place, that is a very easy target like for a terrorist attack if it would happen. And like, you know, maybe if possible, like if like, you know, once they leave, something might attack the other kingdoms, something to keep posted about that. I don't know.
Cadel, I will say, smart thing, it's that very natural, and Snow would agree. It's actually, she's going to invite you, Cadel, as like a personal bodyguard as well, you know, having shown this competence before. And that's really also to keep you out of, I don't want to say suspicion, because technically this imposter did invite you to be a part of the army. It looks better on paper to be like, oh, he's Snow's bodyguard, right? Like this personal, like this like rough and tough huntsman in his armor is Snow's bodyguard. Sure, that makes sense. Like, and so Snow's going to invite you, but that is something that, yes, you can like petition for and kind of do over the days, is getting extra security, trying to look for like, I mean, that's a lot of people in one spot doesn't bode well. Adam and Belle, what were you guys thinking?
I would like to, because of my vision now well over a month ago, but still it's like pretty fresh in my memory because I saw some traumatizing things. I would like to just be researching kind of like a beefed up protection from good and evil, or like something that could link me to him, because I don't trust being in the same room as Cruella.
Gotcha. I think that's perfect. Yeah. So like some intense spell setting, because protection from good, evil, and good is good, but like having something that could like really bond or really sync up in that added protection.
Yeah, just having something like beefed up from there.
I like it. And I mean, the general library of Sumani is a great place to look for spell work, as well as if you send a letter to Agatha. Oh, excuse me. Something to think about, Adam. You do have the Ring of Disease right now.
Yeah.
So Belle, that's something you can definitely do in start of this preparation of, let's get a better spell figured out, or something magically that could help us. Adam, what are you thinking of doing in this time?
I mean, we're definitely gonna go and kind of keep an eye on Cruella. I'm not entirely convinced that like she's super evil, but I am just worried that she might have some other stuff going on with like demons and stuff and things.
Gotcha.
So I might be looking a little bit at things like that.
Gotcha. All right. So like, it's like we don't know what she could be up to, but it's like we don't want to distrust her, but we should not just trust this. Just trying to look around. Here's what I will say then. If going through, Cadel, if you would like to give me an investigation check for your like security detail. Belle, if you would like to give me an investigation check, or I would call this a history check to start studying the libraries. Adam, if you'd like to give me a general, I want to say this could be like a perception check of like starting to figure out like just whether more research, starting to like look around. Either perception or investigation for you, whichever you think would be more apt.
I got a 15.
Okay.
I got a net 20.
Woo! All right, we'll come to that nat 20 a second. That's really good. And Cato, what did you get?
I got a 3.
A 3.
This has
Cato,
not been my day.
I will give you this very briefly then, Cato. In starting to look at security detail, not much is coming that isn't already being hired. Most dignitaries are coming with like hired bodyguards, like 1 or 2 persons just to like be there. That's normal, honestly. But already, again, after the Claire side, a lot of people are suspicious and paranoid. They have hired on the bulk of the Sumanian guard to be not only there, but kind of like on a general high alert for the rest of the world of like, hey, we're getting dignitaries from all over. Let's just keep our cool. Let's not go crazy with like, lax, just keeping everything up. And so at this party, what Cato, even with the 3, you're not finding like anyone new, mostly because it seems like, okay, yeah, like your classic Sumanian guard have been hired to attend. Everyone seems to be in a pretty good place for security detail, as well as, I will say, you won't have access to like the security list, like, maybe like a head of security might, but it's something that like, upon just like general looking, no one seems to be out of place. There's not like, who's Mr. X and Mr. Y? Like those are obviously fake names because they're letters. Everyone looks to be legitimate in terms of security and detail. Adam, in starting to look around, there's a lot that can be found at Sumani, really. There are, of course, right now, there's always heroes out in the night. There's always like, supers to protect or do stuff. But in starting to look around, in terms of like understanding more about Cruella, what you are starting to find, Adam, is Cruella was not always in the public eye, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Really, she did, again, massive takeover when she was just 18. And for the past how many years of just like being alive has grown. Not much is known before she ever became public. In fact, what I will give you is a lot of this seems rather uninformative of like, she grew up in Sumani. Where? Well, no one really asks. Because anything you find, any public record or public knows immediately would like kind of divert you into like, well, here's where she lives now. She's got this grand high rise down on 32nd Street, right? Like she does all this crazy, humanitarian work because most paper trail seems to lead back into the flow of her public image. Which I will say, Adam, I don't want to say it's uncommon because even for you, it's not total public knowledge that you were cursed for how many years. You've started to gain this reputation of the Beast of France, this like king that rules with like grace and ferocity. And some people say, yes, because he magically can become this thing. Not a lot of people know due to like the curse what that means. And it's not the same way, but I will say you see those kind of eerie similarities of like, yeah, because when people try to figure out, well, where was Adam when he was 12? Well, in his castle, but we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about like France and their restaurants now, right? Like they're doing good. Belle, you got a natural 20, which infuriates me to no end, but it's going to be cool. There are some great spells. I'm going to tell you this. I'm giving you what, and you actually may get to help in the naming of this. This is something that will be given to you by another Council of Princess member known as Pocahontas. As Snow has started receiving, right now, Pocahontas has joined her father in Magentia. Again, a lot of the Azamars, Chief Falling Star, Chief Powhatan, the two like heads of the sister nations of the Azamar came to Magentia after the Claricide. And Powhatan's daughter, Pocahontas, has started dating, but it seems they knew before, a man by the name of John Smith. For those watching, yes, John Smith being the other member of the Imagineers right now, played by a different PC. Fun tie-ins. Snow is going to let you in. There is a deep magic that John and Pocahontas have created that they have been calling the colors of the wind. It is something where they have been able to, over great planar distances, through this natural love of each other, through this magic, have begun to have almost that, like, not perfect psychic link, but like the ability to sense each other's emotions, states of danger, and in extreme circumstance, through extreme magic, the ability to communicate. Belle, you then know, and I will say it's that very natural, love is a powerful magic, and I'm a powerful sorceress. I could make something. And so I will say you are going to get to create, it's a spell I've been homebrewing in this campaign because you gotta love magic. You will get to have its official name. For right now, the working title is, we will call it Greater Protection of Evil and Good. What this spell is called, this is a 5th level spell. For those at home wondering, it is a 5th level spell that has a casting time of 1 hour. So it's not something that can be used in a battle, of course. It must be something. The range, of course, is touch. It must be something where you could like touch another person, or like put like think like more for terms of this spell. It's a kiss. It's that true love's kiss. But it can be done through any type of touch, depending on circumstance. The duration of this spell until both members of the spell choose to end it. It is not a concentration. This is what we call an everlasting spell, something that though one member can drop it, they will stop receiving like effects of it. As long as the other member keeps up, they can receive the effects, but it may not be the same. Both members will have to drop for the spell to stop, if that makes sense. The components needed, the verbal and somatic, of course, being able to speak these words of power and magic, being able to, touch the other person to give them this kiss. The material components, of course, needed require, like protection from good and evil, holy water, powdered silver or iron, holy water or powdered silver and iron, which the spell will consume, as well as there must be, as DM decides, true love between the persons, which I think in your guys' case, I'll allow. I feel like you guys like each other. No, but yes, this is what that spell will say. So, like protection from good and evil, until the spell ends, which in theory, a long time, when you have been protected using this spell, you will be protected against a certain type of creature of your choice. This can be aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, giant, undead, or dragon. This protection can be renewed once every 24 hours after dawn upon both consent of both parties, meaning both of you would have to say, like, start of a day, like, which do we want? Because it goes both ways. And this protection will grant several benefits, like protection from evil and good, but with more. Creatures of these types have disadvantage on attack rolls against the targets. The targets cannot be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. If the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed by the creature, the target now has advantage on a saving throw. This is something that probably won't come into effect just because of how the spell works. To give you also this, though, the targets also have 2 luck points between them to be used once per day. So resetting again at dawn or in 24 hours, depending on how the plane of existence you're on works. It is something where you not only have protection, you have this like advantage on or creatures have disadvantage against you, you have advantage against these creatures, but you both also have like 1 reroll in theory per person. Is a 5th level spell that bonds with the creature. Of course, this spell will fail in the event of, first, if one creature chooses to end, their effects towards the other creature will stop. If the other creature ends back, only with both creatures ending does the spell completely stop. The spell does not end after death. This is important. And this is why, of course, with this working spell, it might be like a 6th level spell. Now, in putting on paper, now I read out loud, go, ooh. But the spell does not end with death. It is something where you can continue these effects for each other even after. But spells such as Dispel Magic, given at high enough level, can stop the spell because there is still this arcane spell, but such Dispel Magic can be counterspelled or dispelled by, as seen fit by other casters. So Belle, this is a spell you get to help create. You get to come up with names for it, and if you think of any other added components, please let me know. We'll work them into the spell. Again, current working title is Greater Protection of Evil and Good. Honestly, it might be something, like we might call it True Love's Kiss or something. I think it could have a really good title, but that's up to you with that nat 20 and starting to figure out all this stuff for it. It's fun stuff. Belle, as you guys are preparing for this, something else is going to happen for you. Adam, you currently have this ring of disease. Over these days that you guys are starting to see, at some point, Agatha actually appears to you. You see, Agatha's in a, well, I won't say bad state, but she is starting to look a little more Mim and a lot less Morgana, if that makes sense. If Morgana is like, she is in control of her facilities, Mim is, well, you guys met Mim. She's leaning the Mim way. She's not looking totally sane. She appears, hair kind of frizzed out, to you guys this one night as you're starting to plan. Snow giving you guys also plot of like the ballroom where this is going to be held, like starting to show you like where people are going to be. Agatha is going to appear in front of you. You see this. Hello. I bring back for you, Belle, the Ring of Death. You see, she is holding this Ring of Death. Your so-called protege mentee got it, but I got it from him. But we need to have a talk, Belle. Under no circumstances can a male learn magic from our coven. That is completely out of the question. You see, she goes on a 2-minute tirade against men and their failings. You see, and just that they are weak, they are fallible, they seek only their own pleasures. We cannot trust them. Belle, this person has taken your holy writings and magic and is seeking to learn from you against your will. It is not my place to say, but I believe you should give me permission to go get these books back.
And can I say, well, actually, is Belle aware of this?
Bill, you've been aware of this for some time.
I was I remember us texting about this, but I don't know if Belle is actually totally aware. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I say, actually, I've been kind of communicating with him, and he has my permission to use my books.
Purple, violet, swirling aura, kind of you gave him permission.
I think that everybody should be able to learn whatever they want to.
You see, Agatha looks a little almost dark for a second. Her eyes just get that look of just. Then this is your own choice. Not the choice of the Witchline Coven from which we hold.
That's good.
All right. But you see, looking in this way, you see she just, now, we have the Ring of Death. The Ring of War is safe in my study. We simply need 2 more rings.
So if she's a little more on the min side, I am not going to bring up that I have the Ring of Plague.
I think that's smart. That's totally fair. The Ring of Plague might not be great. You
Can
see,
I
she just,
ask Adam who that is? Because and like I feel like I'm slightly like almost drawing my hand is on my sword because I don't know who this person is, and there's swirling magic coming out from her. It's like, is this someone we can trust? Because I have no idea. Oh, hey, I can help you out. I got my sword back here too.
hey, yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, I think that's totally reasonable. Kato, this woman just appeared. There's magic. She looks kind of unhinged right now. You see Agatha stops as you just turn. But yes, you can definitely ask Adam, like, what's up? Because right now, Agatha is just like full more talking to Belle.
Yeah.
So yeah, what would you like to say to him? Yeah, go ahead and roleplay that.
Adam, who is this woman, and is she to be trusted? I don't think she's entirely there.
This is Agatha. There's some history. She's the one that ended up cursing me. It ended up kind of long story short, she's Belle's mentor, and we've been working with her. She helps advise Arthur with Merlin. She has
Okay, so she's kind of a big deal. Okay.
Yeah, she's kind of a big deal. We can trust her. I am gonna kind of like discreetly lean, like, I guess she has good and bad days. This is one of her crazier days.
Okay, so I should not be drawing my sword at this point.
Yeah, we do not want to push her over the edge.
Belle, you see,
Okay,
Agatha's
all
kind
right.
of then
And I
finishing that.
slowly like.
Now, Belle, as soon as we can find, be on the lookout for famine and for plague. Once we can have these, we can try some stuff, and we'll destroy the rings, and everything will be okay, and the world will be fine, and then we just have to deal with another world-ending scenario. What do you want, Adam?
Okay, so before, you were the one that had the Ring of Famine before.
Yes.
Did
Yes.
you do
I
this?
mean, you, Adam, you see Agatha's eyes kind of dart for a second, just in that, like, oh, yes, I have the Ring of Famine, and we just need plague.
I'm gonna say, Agatha, is everything okay? You're
Yes. Why would it be fine, girl? I'm totally fine. It's fine though. I'm fine. It's wonderful.
can I just pat her shoulder calmingly? It's okay.
Yeah.
Did something happen with one of your sisters? Yeah.
You see, she kind of stopped, just breathes. It's not my sisters. I've noticed in the past couple of years that, unfortunately, due to the instability and cracks of my mind from when my sisters were plaguing my thoughts with darkness and souls, I may have times where I can go crazy, but I'm fine. Everything is okay. We now have more rings than we did before. Your mentee has done a good job in capturing Facilier, and they are bringing him to Magencia, in which I and Merlin will lock him up. With that being done, we will then use these persons on quests to help, and we'll all be okay. Adam, I will give you this. There's no insight needed, as it's very serious. You definitely still heard and remember how it definitely sounded like Agatha did not have the Ring of Famine. That's
Yeah.
like an obvious thing. But you do see though, while that was something she may have listened, she is getting a lot more composed. Her hair is like starting to unfrizz itself, kind of like gently like going back down. As you know, when you're getting too stressed magically, stuff can happen. As Belle, though, very soothing, of course, just being that like helpful hand for your mentor, your old, the enchantress mistress you helped serve under. She is starting to look a little bit better in just that. Now, I must just go. This is just good news. I wanted to fill you in on so you don't have to look for the ring of death. This one, you see, again, holding up this ring with that skull on it, is very powerful and is now off the board.
Very good.
Good. So now we just need to find the ring of famine again. Do you know where you put it last?
Oh.
Well, I can't. It's with the others. Where I can't tell you, because then that would be a breach of security.
Okay. So she's kind of starting to not starting. This is similar. I'm having similar suspicions as with like Mr. Incredible when he was like with the fake Mr. Incredible, kind of trying to pass as though he knew stuff. It feels like Agatha is doing similar things to this.
Yeah. Go ahead, make me an insight check.
That is a 19.
Ooh, very good. Very good.
Oh.
Adam, you can tell while this is Agatha, the Agatha you guys know, she definitely is starting to show, like you are catching on very astutely, in not remembering certain what should have been key aspects. You don't know, though, I will say on that insight, this could mean either she has forgotten or she's not always in the good state of mind to have a memory set, if that makes sense.
Mm.
As you see,
Oh gosh.
yeah, it's that very, it's more of that intense, like there's something behind her eye, not like of like deception. She's not trying to trick and be like, oh, I was lying, but they can't know that. It's, she may have just honestly not realized that if she has it or not. There is something she doesn't have a good grasp on reality with right now. You see, though, as you're getting this, Adam, Snow and Florin, who've kind of been like off to the side, just like letting this happen. They didn't want to intrude. Snow is going to step forward, though, and simply to Agatha, just thank you so much, Mistress Agatha. Your insight is always appreciative. I would once again invite Arthur, if you would like to come to the Day of Love banquet here in Sumani. Agatha turns you, just, no, Arthur says he would rather stay in Magentia in helping the Asmarian nations in the rebuilding of temples. He also asked, as soon as you would like the rebuilding of the temple and cathedral of Zeus to come about, please let us know. We would like to help in that scenario. You see, Snow gives that nod. Agatha turns, gives like kind of that more of, not too tender, but Belle, she places the hand on your cheek in that, thank you. Gives a just very polite nod to you, Adam. Looks at you, Cadel. You, Cadel, no check needed. She looks at you with vast apprehension and intrigue of just like looking you once over. Stops, and in a swirl of purple and green arcane magic, she disappears.
Did she leave the Ring of Death with Belle?
No, she took the ring. She was more coming to inform that the ring has been found. This is where, Adam, the note you got from Nick is more coming into effect right now as well. That sending of like, hey, my name's Nick. Wow. As all this is going on, tomorrow is going to be the banquet, as you know. What you see is, again, in last minute preparation and stuff Snow will give you, in terms of these 4 days, again, a lot was accomplished in terms of trying to figure out what's going on. And also that, I don't want to say catch up, but like, okay, here's where the other like parties are. Here's the state of the world. But in learning more about the smell, the spell that Belle has preparing, Cadel of learning more about the security, the final stuff that Snow is giving you is in this official guest list. You are able to see these things, not only of the characters like Mr. Tedvilius, of Mr. Skinner, of Cruella, these movers and shakers, how Cruella de Vil has a +1 written down for her invite. You see that
Would I recognize the name of the +1?
The +1, here's what I will tell you. The name that is written down is one Vanessa Benson. That doesn't ring much. Anyone who wants can make a history check just against, because this is a name I will say is astutely new, like is not really come up naturally before.
I got a 23.
Ooh.
And I got another net 20.
Oh,
I got an 8.
all right.
It's better than
I will
my
give
other
this-
numbers, but it's an 8.
Cadel, as you're looking at this, not a lot because you've never heard this name before. In terms of security, in terms of people, this name doesn't come up. Adam, you know a lot of dignitaries. Again, being King of France, you still have to run nations. You have to know people. This isn't a royal. This isn't like anyone of royalty. Belle, on a natural 20, you've never heard this name before in your life. In fact, this name, upon checking, Belle, is a complete and total lie. I will say, oracularly, you see this name, or like you see these people. This is not a real person. This is no one that should exist. I will say that. Is there anything else you guys want to do though before the celebrations tomorrow? Any last things?
So this person to the banquet,
Mhm.
right? But she's like,
Whatever this person's true name is not Vanessa Benson. As Cadel and Adam, it's that like, I don't remember anyone, and Belle, it's that like, that's not even real. There's no one that goes by that name on the mortal plane, like in that kind of sense, on a nat 20. But you guys
alert Snow of that.
Cool. Snow's gonna take the information. You see, we will keep careful watch on this person, however best we can. The events and banquet are going to start at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
What I would like to do is, like, if it's possible, send a message to Fiona to, like, make sure you and Derek, go ahead, join the festival, but make sure you are close enough to run home and lock the doors if need be. I know she can take care of herself, but like, I still want them to be safe.
You send a message to Fiona. Here's what I will give you. You send this message down. You get a message back that same night, Cable. As you get, yes, we will be safe. I don't understand what's to be safe. I thought tonight should be a night for celebrating.
Oh. I won't tell her much, but I was just like, yeah, it is a night of celebrating. Just please be careful, okay?
You see,
and also, like, I can just say it's just me being nervous because this is my first time as
the message you again sending off through these couriers comes back again rather briefly because not a lot is written on it. You see, no, not tomorrow, tonight. Have you not heard the news? Go outside. People are talking about it everywhere.
Okay, and I go outside just to, and I guess like also I'll inform Belle and Adam about this and whoever's in there. It's like apparently there's something going on outside. I
Right
just got
now,
a message about this.
It's the three of you plus Snow and Florian. Any of you can go outside. Just kind of like out of these penthouses in this embassy. Upon exiting, a lot of talk. You see. Up and down the streets, there are people talking, cheering, just like, huge commotion as walking around in robes of blue and black seem to be priests, wearing like holy garbs of temples. And all of you here in this night on the 13th, all of these people rejoice one and all. Notre Dame has been rebuilt. The magic of the gods is here once more. Notre Dame is here, given to us from our risen and forgiven brother Frollo. Notre Dame, the cathedral now of Hades, is here to bless and heal us once more. That's where we're going to end today's session.
Oh, bro.
Thank you all so much for playing. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.